Now I want to talk about this whole Paula Deen thing because I touched on it last week. I touched on it a little bit last week, briefly last week. And I want to get a little deeper into it on today's show because a lot of people are talking about it. I was going to talk about some other stuff, but this is the elephant in the room. I touched on it briefly when the whole story broke last week, but it has become so much deeper, and some interesting dynamics have come up because of this Paula Deen thing. Very interesting stuff. And what's interesting about the whole Paula Deen thing is all the Negroes, I call them Coons, who have come out and supported Paula Deen. Now, for those who don't know, Paula Deen, she's a Southern lady. She had, I think, several cooking shows, or one main cooking show on the Food Network, but she has a cooking empire. I think she probably stole a bunch of recipes from black folks in the South, built this cooking brand, this good old down-home Southern belle image, wholesome, likable, lovable. And it was found out that this woman has used several racial epithets. She called people niggas, and she obviously does it in very casual conversation. And the story broke last week, and all hell has broken loose. She's been let go of her job at the Food Network. A lot of her sponsors, they've dropped her. And there has been a lot of people within the dominant society supporting Paula Deen. Now, that's understandable. There are a lot of white Southerners who are supporting her. A lot of them are rushing to her restaurants in support. They're lining up around the corners of her restaurants supporting her. Now, that's understandable. Not shocked about that. Not saying it's good, because that we're showing the racist ideology that's still prevalent in our country today. A woman who comes out being an admitted racist, and people within the dominant society who are adamantly supporting this woman. So what they're saying is that they're supporting her racist ideology because a lot of them have that racist ideology. Let's be very clear. And this should be a wake-up call to a lot of people of color around the country. But a lot of people are not waking up to it because, unfortunately, there have been a lot of Negroes come out and support Paula Deen even after it has been revealed this woman has very racist views and ideologies about people of color, black people in particular. Let me stop using people of color, because a lot of times racism was very, very direct in this country. It was very specific to a very specific group of people, black folks. Those signs during Jim Crow were very specific. No niggas drink here, no niggas drink there, no niggas walk in. They're very specific. So with this whole Paula Deen thing, there's been so many excuses for Paula Deen. Oh, she's from an era where that was normal. I don't give a fuck. That's just the way she is. She has a great heart. We should forgive. A lot of black folks are saying this. A lot of black folks are on this let's forgive thing. Now, what's interesting about this, and I pointed this out on some of my social networking sites, that a few weeks ago when Chad Ochocinco was caught up in the game in court, when he slapped his lawyer on the butt after the lawyer asked a question and steered him into a conversation, a lot of black folks were like, Chad Ochocinco deserved to go to jail. That nigga's stupid. He deserved what he got. He shouldn't have been so dumb. He should have been more submissive. You know better, nigga. You should have got more time in jail. I mean, there were a lot of black folks who were in his ass. Now that this Paula Deen thing has broken, now these same Negroes are on that, well, everybody makes mistakes. We should learn how to forgive. So this just shows the sickness and the self-hatred with a lot of these Negroes out here. You will go in on a person who looks like you. You have hellfire to spray on a person who looks like you for any little infraction, but people within the dominant society, you're quick to give them a pass. That just shows the slave Negro coon mentality that is prevalent in a lot of so-called African-American people in this day and age. And that's very sad. Because the thing is, during the whole Chad thing, people were saying stuff like, well, Chad should have been, yes, sir, no, sir, no, ma'am. He should have been more submissive. That was the whole thing with Chad. He should have been more submissive. He should have bowed down more. He should have bucked more. Whenever you're in a situation like that, you have to submit more. Bow your head. Be more submissive. That's the answer to a lot of things that Coons say. Be more submissive. And let me say this. It don't matter how submissive you are. You can be as submissive as possible. You can coon, buck dance, bow your head. You can be as submissive as you want to be. That's not going to stop the systematic racism from biting you in the ass. And this whole Paula Deen situation is proof positive of that. Because this whole Paula Deen situation, a lot of people within the media and the dominant society, again, they've somehow flipped this, and now they're blaming black folks. You notice this? We have this whole thing now going that, well, black folks should stop complaining. If Paula Deen can say nigga, black folks say nigga, so it's a double standard. Damn the black people, damn the rappers. If rappers can rap about nigga, why is Paula Deen in trouble? So now we have this thing where black people are getting blamed for the Paula Deen situation. And that's total bullshit. The same thing happened with Imus. Remember, Imus just happened to call women some nappy-headed hoes, and all of a sudden, all the rappers were blamed for Imus calling women nappy-headed hoes. It's the rappers' fault. And they start having these forums with rappers. We fell for that fucking Jedi mind trick. That's called deflection. And a lot of people in the dominant society are very good at deflecting to get the spotlight off of their racist ideology. And they're doing the same thing. Instead of delving into the racist ideology that this woman and many people still have, let's deflect and say, well, what about rappers? They say nigga, how come they can do it and we can't do it? And Bun B, the rapper Bun B, he had a great tweet today. Somebody posted this up on my Facebook page. He was like, hey, stop scapegoating hip-hop artists. We deal with our problems. When we have issues, we deal with them. Deal with your shit. Referring to Paula Deen. Let Paula Deen deal with her shit. When we put out there, we got to deal with our issues when we're put out there in the game. Let her deal with her shit. And that's what I say. Let Paula Deen deal with her shit. You coon niggas, stop running up to the rescue. Niggas are always playing Captain Save-A-Ho for fuckery from other people. Niggas love saving other people, defending fuckery. But the thing is, a lot of these coons are just literally coming out the woodwork supporting Paula Deen. And remember this, understand this, people. With this whole Paula Deen thing that happened, black folks didn't have anything to do with the whole Paula Deen situation that popped up. Black folks had nothing to do with the situation. Let me say that again. Be very clear. For all the criticism we're getting, black people had nothing to do with Paula Deen being thrown under the bus. Zero. Black people didn't complain. Black people didn't protest. Black people didn't file any kind of H&R complaints or nothing, even though the lawsuit shows that Paula Deen was racist to her employees. They didn't really complain publicly. The lawsuit that was filed against Paula Deen was filed by a white lady named Lisa Jackson. The lady is white. They keep leaving that out. As a matter of fact, that's why this story has legs anyway, is because the lady who filed the lawsuit is white. See, understand this. Black people are not really allowed to file racial discrimination suits no more. If you notice that, black people are not allowed to accuse anybody in the dominant society of being racist. The minute we do that, oh, that's a cop-out. Can you prove it? Stop it. You're just not taking responsibility. That's what we're told. So we're not really allowed to tell anybody that we're being discriminated against, if you notice. There was a case, I think out there in somewhere on the East Coast, I forgot where it was, but there was a case where a judge, they won't allow inmates to file racial discrimination suits for I think the prison system, or they can't file appeals based on racial discrimination. They've wiped that out. So they're creating laws now and getting rid of laws that will allow you to say, hey, I'm being discriminated against racially. They're not allowing that no more. They're shutting that shit down all across the board. Even with this whole Trayvon Martin thing, the only reason Zimmerman got arrested, and remember, Zimmerman is basically free, but the only reason Zimmerman got arrested is because so many black people got together as a whole and rallied and raised so much hell, and it got international acclaim and spotlight That's when they decided to finally just arrest Zimmerman. And he still might get off, truth be told. So we had to make a whole bunch of noise just to get this asshole arrested for shooting Trayvon Martin. So this just shows the position black people are in right now. So we got to really understand how the game is going, because right now we're slipping back into some Jim Crow shit. Right now we're slipping back into a level of Jim Crow. We got to be very cognizant of that. We're slipping back into some Jim Crow shit, and I've said this many times on the show. But the thing is, like I said, the whole thing with Paula Deen, black folks didn't have anything to do with it. The reason why she's losing sponsors and she's getting fired is not because of black people. We didn't do anything. She put her foot in her mouth and got caught up on her own recognizances. We had nothing to do with that, and they're not going to do that for us. They're not going to fire whites and do all that for us. You know, they might do some shit temporarily, but they always let them back. Just like with Dr. Laura, when she made her little racist comments, they gave her a slap on the wrist and then they gave her another job. But Iman said the nappy-headed whole thing, they gave him a slap on the wrist, gave him another job. When Dog the Bounty Hunter said his little racist shit, slapped him on the wrist, gave him his show back. So we don't really, people are not going to do anything for us like that. The thing is with Paula Deen, when you have whites accusing other whites of racism and things of that nature, they're like, okay, this thing has something to it. This thing has legs. So that's why they're giving this as much publicity as they're giving it. And also, with Paula Deen, it's not like she just said the N-word. I mean, this woman, the accusations against her are very deep. And a lot of the corporate sponsors and the corporate networks, they had to distance themselves from her. Not because of black folks, but internationally. Understand this, people. When you do business internationally, you're a corporation and you're doing international business. As an American corporation, the last thing you want to do is be associated with racism, because that's the stain that's on this country. And other countries and other people around the world, they know that's the Achilles heel of America. They understand that America's problem, and something that's thrown in America's face by other countries all the time, is the racism. People are very aware of the treatment that black people get in this country. People around the world are very aware of this. That's why they put Barack Obama in office, to give us the illusion of equality and all that. And people are still a little suspicious about that. And I talked about that before, but people are very aware of the mistreatment black people get in this country. People are aware of it, and they throw it up in America's face all the time. They're like, okay, you're in our country trying to tell us about being humanitarian. We see what you do to blacks over there. So they don't want that image of themselves. They don't want to show this woman, Paula Deen, making racist comments in the media, and this media is going all around the world, and they're still doing business with her. So they're going to have to throw her under the bus, because it's a bad look for them globally. Not that they give a fuck about us. Please understand that, all right? Understand that part of the game. Because like I said, black folks had nothing to do with this Paula Deen situation whatsoever. This is why we have so many coons coming out copping pleas. This is why we have so many black folks coming out. Oh, I love you, Paula. I forgive you, Paula. Please don't be mad at us now. I have no problem with Paula. Just please don't be mad at us, massa. It's that whole mentality coming from niggas. And it's black folks tweeting. I heard Stacey Dash, she tweeted some coon shit, how she still likes Paula Deen. And on Facebook, I've seen a lot of Negroes on Facebook kissing up, sucking up, trying to co-sign Paula Deen's fuckery. Let me tell y'all something, man. Because when you read the whole lawsuit about what Paula Deen is accused of, there's some real trifling shit that went down in her restaurants and the way she did business. The lady that accused her, and again, there's a white lady accusing you, and the thing is, they felt very comfortable around this lady. You see, that's the thing. This lady, Lisa Jackson, she broke one of the white rules. You're not supposed to tell what we say behind closed doors about black folks. You're not supposed to say that. That's one of the rules. And Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, she always say, if they're whites who want to help black people out in the fight for injustice, if you want to help, the only thing you can do is tell us what other whites say about us behind our backs. Tell us what whites say when we're not around. And if you're not willing to do that, you can't really help us. And that's the ideology of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. And very rarely will you see that happen. where whites will tell on other whites. Very rarely will you see that happen. Every blue moon, you'll get somebody who will tell the truth. And every blue moon, you get some people who are like, hey, I'm not with all that redneck hillbilly Nazi shit. I'm about to throw them under the bus. And this lady, Lisa Jackson, threw them under the bus and told all of it. So y'all, a lot of black folks fall for that Southern Belle. Hey, it's Paula Deen, y'all. Y'all fall for that country bullshit. Because deep down, a lot of y'all want acceptance. And part of being so-called accepted within the dominant society for black folks, you have to forgive a lot of white injustices that has happened historically. But a lot of times, some of the stuff is still there. It's still bubbling under. And this is why so many black folks are making excuses. You think that that's going to get you the proverbial pat on the head and that's going to get you accepted. And I think this is a tough pill to swallow with a lot of black folks, because Paula Deen is a likable character. When you see Paula Deen, you hear that accent, and even on a subconscious level, you're like, whoa. As a black person on a subconscious level, when you hear that accent, you're like, whoa, she sounds like she might be kind of a redneck. When you hear somebody with that accent, you start looking for exits at doors just in case. You're like, because we black folk, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but just in case you're on that racist shit, let me make sure I can get a nice clean exit just in case you on some bullshit. So when you hear that, hey y'all, it's Paula Deen, y'all, when you hear that, you're like, oh shit. But when you'll watch her show and she cooks the food and she's all nice Southern down home, and you slowly try to gravitate to it. And now that she has come out justifying and reiterating a lot of your fears and suspicions about people who have those accents, a lot of you don't want to admit the truth. Like, okay, it is what it is. This person is like a lot of people within the dominant society who have that mentality, who think of black people as inferior. And that's what she does. She thinks of black people as inferior. Because let's get back on this whole N-word thing. A lot of people try to use this real weak, fake argument about if black people can use the N-word, how come we can't use the N-word? And it's such a weak, fake argument. And they know it's a weak, fake argument, and all it is something to create a smokescreen. Because the first thing you should ask them, why do you want to use the word so bad? I've said this before on this show. Why do you want to use the word so bad? Why are you debating whether you should use the word or not? That says a lot about you, and that's the first thing you should say to a person who's complaining about not being able to use the N-word. Because the thing is this, in this country, the word nigga was given to black folks whether they liked it or not. The nigga word was placed on black folks whether they liked it or not. Black people had to deal with that word every single day in every forms of their lives. And that word meant something very specific when the dominant society placed that on black people. It meant that you were less than and you are inferior. You are less than human than us. That's what it meant then, and that's what it means now by the dominant society. This is what they tried to program into the minds of black people for many years. There were children's books with the word nigger in it. There's a book by Agatha Christie, one of the best-selling books of the earliest part of the 20th century, called 10 Little Niggers. So there was no escaping the nigger word. And again, when they said it, they meant the real definition of it, which is to mean that you, black person, are inferior. There were books, there were songs. You go to a market and there were food products with nigger this, nigger head oysters. Go look some of this stuff. There was a product called nigger head oysters, nigger head this, nigger lip food. Everywhere you went, it was nigger, 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 nigger. So black folks being in this situation, not being able to control the dominant society and not really control the ideology of the dominant society, black people decided at least we can control the meaning of the word among ourselves. Since you insist on placing this word on us, we'll at least control the meaning of it. To take some of the venom out of it, to take some of the sting out of it, because we know we're not inferior, but we don't want our children to hear this word and think that they're inferior, so we'll minimize the word by turning it into a term of endearment for ourselves when we use it among ourselves. And that's what black people do. Black people turn the word into terms of endearment. They turn it into a word of acknowledgement. There's different meanings when black folks use the word. We all know this. Now, some black people say, oh, that's not good enough, I don't want to do it. Well, that's on you. We're talking about unnatural things and unnatural circumstances. Being in a situation where your language and your history and your wherewithal has all been taken away from you, that's an unnatural situation, so people cope with it in unconditional ways. But that's the way that black people learn how to cope with that word. So let's be very clear. It definitely means something totally different with black folks. Sometimes we say it as a term of endearment. We don't mean to subjugate another black person for the most part when we say it. Now, when the dominant society says it, like a Paula Deen, they mean something very, very specific when they say it. They do not say it as a term of endearment. So let's get off that dumbass argument. And black folks, stop making excuses for people in the dominant society when they say that shit, because they mean something very specific. They mean that you are inferior to them. And if you co-sign that, your dumbass is agreeing with it, which is further going to let them think that you're more inferior. They're not going to accept you. If you agreeing with them in their fuckery, you think they're going to accept you? So that word means something very, very, very specific within the dominant society. And the thing is, you know, with black folks, man, black people are like pets to white people. Black people are so protective. That's why when I was doing the movie Hidden Colors, and I said this before, I went out of my way to not have anything in the film that was going to be overtly offensive to the dominant society or to whites. I went out of my way to make sure that there was nothing overtly offensive to whites, whereas we're throwing them under the bus or we're attacking whites. I didn't want that whatsoever. Not because whites would get mad, but because black people would be uncomfortable, and black people, I know how protective of whites black people are. Black people wouldn't like that shit. Just like a lot of times when you tell black people or prove to black people that the early images of Jesus was black, I mean, I got all types of documents and paintings, and I can show you coins. There's a look of disappointment on some niggas' faces. Some black folks get sad when they find out that Jesus wasn't really white, and the picture that you worship of Jesus, it's like a model out of Italy. Some black folks get upset with that. You understand that? So the thing is, black folks got to stop co-signing fuckery. Black folks got to stop co-signing bullshit. And the thing is, like I said, man, a lot of black people just don't want no trouble right now. Blacks are like, we don't want no trouble. We just want to go along to get along. We forgives you, Paula. Paula, your cooking is all right with me, Paula. And there was a black lady at one of her restaurants. They interviewed her. The black lady was the first in line trying to make excuses and co-sign and take up for Paula. And they're going to put the camera in all these niggas' faces. Whenever there's one black face in the crowd, they're going to put the camera or they're going to interview them first. They love interviewing the coons first because coons love attention. And they're going to give coons what they want. There's nothing a coon loves more than attention and a pat on the head from the dominant society. So that's the thing, man. We got to understand the game and stop playing around. Because the thing is, man, with Paula Deen, fuck Paula Deen. Straight up and down. She didn't make a mistake. People are like, well, everybody makes mistakes. We shouldn't criticize her for a mistake. Paula Deen did not make a mistake. Calling a race of people niggas, implying that they're inferior, is not a mistake. Because this woman has consistently done this in casual conversation. She has consistently displayed casual racist ideology against black people, because now they're pulling out several interviews of her, and some of the stuff she's saying is reiterating her racist views. Paula did a story. She was doing an interview with somebody, and you guys can look this up on YouTube, and she was talking about her great-great-granddaddy who owned slaves back in the 1800s. He owned slaves, and she was telling this poor, nostalgic, heartfelt story about how my great-great-granddaddy had slaves, and they, after the Civil War, he lost all his workers, and he committed suicide because he just couldn't cope. And she's saying this story like we're supposed to be sympathetic with her dumb ass. And I'm thinking like, okay, I'm supposed to sympathize with you and not sympathize with the enslaved Africans that your granddad had? So it's that type of racism that's so normalized in her mind, she don't even think it's wrong. That's the worst kind of racism. My poor granddaddy lost his niggers. It's that type of mentality. Like, oh damn, well, shame on the black people for not wanting to work for free and be in bondage, and shame on the women for not wanting to be raped by this motherfucker. Shame on them. Shame on them, Paula. You know what? You're right, Paula. I forgive you. You know how stupid that fucking sounds coming from niggas talking about they forgive that? Some of you niggas sound stupid. Think about this stuff. And she did another interview where she brought out one of her quote-unquote black friends or black workers or whatever. She's like, I got a black friend. And she brought him out. Come on out here, Henry, whatever his name was. She brought him out, and she made a real slick comment. Don't stand behind that board. You're so black we can't see you. And people kind of gave a nervous laugh about it. And look this up. All of this stuff is on YouTube. So little slick-ass racial comments like that is normal for this woman. She don't think nothing is wrong. And that's the worst kind of racism, because a lot of people who have racist ideologies, they know some of the shit they're doing is fucked up. A lot of people, like a lot of these neo-Nazis, they know some of the shit they do is fucked up. A lot of people, when they were in the lynch mobs and all that, lynching black people, they know it's fucked up. They do it anyway. They know it's fucked up, but they do it anyway. But her thing is, she don't even know how fucked up her shit is. It's so normalized and it's so casual with her. She don't think she's doing anything wrong. That's the most dangerous part of the racism that we have in our society. It's almost like we're doing you a favor. Hey, my great granddaddy, he took care of his niggers. It's that kind of thing. Like, we did you a favor. Like, sure, we talk about niggers. That don't make us racist. But when you look at the whole Paula Deen situation, her and her brother, they were referring to the black employees as monkeys. Y'all read that whole lawsuit. Read the whole thing. Read that whole thing. Paula Deen is not no angel. And they would make the black workers use separate restrooms from the whites. Those are some of the things they're accused of. I'm not co-signing Paula. She don't give no forgiveness from me. Fuck Paula Deen. And the whole thing with what's the icing on the cake, she wanted to dress the black folks up like slaves. And she said that out of her own mouth, by the way. That was an accusation in the lawsuit, but then she admitted to this. The woman in the lawsuit who filed the lawsuit, she said Paula Deen said to her she wanted to dress up little niggers, meaning little black kids, as slaves. And then in the deposition, she admitted that, wanting to have some kind of banquet or some kind of Civil War ball or some kind of dinner where the black people were dressed up as slaves. She thought that was a neat idea. And you coon-ass niggas are co-signing this? Y'all, some of you niggas are pathetic. And again, some of these niggas out here don't want to deal with the fact that no matter what you do, again, because black people have been very submissive, no matter what you do, even if you do nothing, and I said this about the whole Chad Ochocinco thing. When Chad was in court, people are like, oh, he got thrown in jail because he didn't do this. He should have been more this. He should have been more that. He should have bowed down. He should have had his head held. He should have wore a suit. Niggas had every excuse in the book. Like I said, that lady in that courtroom was going to throw Chad in jail. She was looking for a reason to throw that dude in jail. So even if he did nothing, if he just sat there and said, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, she would have said, well, hey, you don't look remorseful enough. I'll throw you in jail. So y'all got to understand racial politics and understand how this game works. It's just like with black folks. Black folks did not do anything in this Paula Deen situation, yet you're still being thrown under the bus. What does that say? Co-signing fuckery from people like Paula Deen and other people, that makes you look weak. Black people have to stop acting weak in this country. Going along with fuckery, co-signing bigotry and racism coming from the dominant society, that makes you look weak. And when you act that weak, this is when they start sliding in other types of legislature, putting you further into Jim Crow. Because you notice, I think today or yesterday, they just repealed some of the stuff in the Voting Act for black folks. So they took away some of the rights in the Voting Act for black people. So now black people's voting rights don't have the same protection as it used to have, because they used to have to reinstate the Voting Rights Act every 20 years. And there's a reason for that, because I knew they were going to take it away. A few weeks ago, well, I think a month ago, when I was in Atlanta, I talked about this in Atlanta. I talked about the whole voting rights thing in Atlanta. And that lecture is going to be out pretty soon, people. I'm going to have that lecture ready for you guys in a few weeks. But I knew they were going to take away the voting rights, because the fact that they have to reinstate it every 20 years showed that they planned on taking it away sooner or later, taking away the voting protection. And now, since they've taken away some of the rights for the Voting Rights Act, some of the protection for the Voting Rights Act, some states in the South, they're already putting stuff in play now to prevent and to thwart black voters from voting in the future. They're going to really get the Jim Crow shit is coming, black folks. This is what y'all should do, man. Black folks, really, if you have family members, friends, get the movies Hidden Colors for them. Start there. And I'm not trying to do a shameless plug. There's a reason why I made the movie. You really have to get a historical perspective of yourself, and we gotta get on the same page. Go to hiddencolorsfilm.com, get Hidden Colors, share it with your friends, share it with your family, so we can at least get a historical perspective, so you can know who you are, so you don't have to have such a low self-esteem where you have to buck dance and co-sign people trying to subjugate you. That makes us look weak, and when we're weak, they're gonna keep sliding us more and more into Jim Crow. That's been today's episode of the Mac Lessons Radio Show, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you learned something again. Go to hiddencolorsfilm.com. Get Hidden Colors today. Hidden Colors 1 and 2. Get it for your friends. Get it for your family. I'm going to holler at you guys on Ustream this Sunday. Y'all have a good one, family. Peace.